Everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Remote Tribe podcast. I'm Andrew Williams. I'm the founder of Remote Tribe. We are a blog talking about all things digital nomad and travel across the world. We help people travel all over the world, get digital nomad visas, and also design a lifestyle that enables them to work from anywhere. And I'm here joined with lawyer Mo Abusanam, who's an expert in immigration visas, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, and he's going to also tell us about the topic today, which is a very hot one. Go ahead, Mo.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks so much for inviting me again to the podcast. It's been a pleasure always helping global citizens, expats, and remote workers with their global affairs, building global lifestyle, and get residency or citizenship in other countries, and reducing their tax to 0%.
So I know that lately there has been a breaking news about the Caribbean visa and the passports that are now forbidden to get a visa for the UK. And this is a really hot topic. And I think you can give us some clarification going forward for this type of passports. And also we're going to touch a subject about the second passport, because the second passport is becoming more and more important for a lot of people. And it seems like the one in the Caribbean is not an option anymore. So we have to see what other options do we have on the table for the near future, and we're going to touch on that. And I'm really looking forward for you to tell us what other options there are and how to get a second passport, basically. So let's start with the news, Mo. What's just can you give us a summary of what happened in the last few weeks?
I mean, just a couple of days before the UK government, the Home Office announced that they will deny visa free access to four nations. One of them is Dominica, which is like a citizenship by investment country in the Caribbean that allow anyone to invest and get speed up a passport instantly through a special program. I mean, one of the advantages of getting a passport in the Caribbean that you will be able to get a visa-free access to 160 plus country. If you have a low tier or low class passport from the country doesn't have a free or allow visa free access to many countries, getting into the Caribbean, that will make your life much more easier. You'll be able to travel instantly, not just waiting to apply for visa to go through the hurdles about going through different visa application in different
And that's
countries.
this
The
is one of
now,
the main reasons why people apply for this kind of passports, to get access to the UK and the EU market.
yes, that you can say that's the number one reason actually. Mainly low class or you can say hard to get visa access countries that apply for this citizenship by investment.
And which are the four
The
countries,
announcement
Mo?
from the U.
Which are the four
I
countries?
mean,
Because
the
it's
announced. Yes, it's Vanuatu. It's one of it's also a citizenship by investment country, but it's not in the Caribbean. It's in the Pacific, just very near, very close to Australia. And there is another two, Namibia, which is an African country, used to get visa-free access to the UK, and then Dominica, which is in the Caribbean. The only thing that's happened that the Home Office announced, or the UK government announced 4 months ago, that they will start studying the implications of citizenship by investment on the UK security. And then they announced that they banned Dominica last week. And they also announced that they will start having a special program for the other four Caribbean nations, which is St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, and um,
Barbados,
Antigua. No, it's
Antigua,
Antigua and Barbuda.
Barbuda, yeah.
Yes, that's the four. That's the five countries that allow anyone to get citizenship by investment. And they used to enjoy, because all of them in the Commonwealth, they used to enjoy visa free access to the EU and the UK. And the UK started to say no, we're not allowing. There's many reasons for this, but this is something that I've actually have a video 6 months ago talking about the Vanuatu that's lose access to the EU. But this is what the small scale in the industry that we are talking about. And there's many clients who contacted me and they say what we can do now. We have invested at least 100k plus
Yeah.
USD to get this citizenship, and then we lose one of the main access
So
benefits to
I guess there are two kind of investors, or people who want this decision. The first ones are the ones that just got it, or they have it for a few years, and then you've got the second category which are in the process of getting it and they're stuck with the money and the application. So how should people deal with this issue?
The process for applying for the citizenship by investment, you start the application, you pay like a deposit to get the due diligence done. Once the due diligence done, you have to pay the funds directly to the Caribbean government. If you already have paid the money to the Caribbean government and just waiting for the approval from the country to get the citizenship and then the passport, there's no way to ask for a refund. I mean,
Okay.
I have many clients who ask it, but it's impossible to none. Okay, that's one
Yeah.
thing. But if you already started the process and you are the due diligence, and if you don't want to continue, you will lose access to the deposit. Okay, that's most of the agent or the marketers for the CPI programs doesn't talk about this, because this is like the forbidden fruit.
And it's
You
also
don't want to.
the risk that they want to mention in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's. I've been talking about this for almost 10 years now, but it's the sales message and what you are promising to get. I have many clients who have get the citizenship and they think that they can actually live in the UK or the EU. They don't understand the difference between getting a visa-free access or the right to live in a country.
Correct.
I have a client who just got a passport and went to the UK when I used to live in London before, and they come to the office and tell me, okay, I would like to get an residency in my passport. You don't have any privilege getting a Commonwealth passport in the UK. You are like everyone else. He was shocked when I tell him that actually the sales guy who was offering this it's actually a lie. There's no rules and regulation apply that you will have privileged access. You just get a visa free access, but
So
he doesn't
visa free
understand.
as a tourist for what, 90 days? Is that what you get?
No, he can stay up to 180
180.
days, 6 months,
Okay.
but
6 months.
he'll not be able to do anything.
No work
He'll not be able
permit.
to do. No,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
no work permit. No, be able to claim funds. No, be able to do stay. I mean, actually, the allowed stay is 180 days, but the border force, when you enter the airport, they ask a couple of questions. Sometimes it can give you a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, but the visa can stay up to 180 days. But if you abuse the system, you can ban from entering the country,
Okay, that's
like
good to
anywhere
know,
else.
because I think a lot of people are the under impression that if they get a passport under the CBI, they can actually do business and stay in the UK, which is not true from what you're saying.
No, no. They
Right.
will treat it like any other visitors. The only thing, you actually get two benefits, which is no one talks about. Illegal benefits, you can say illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing, if they actually get a residency in the UK through different options, they will not need to prove their English language, even if they don't speak English.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's kind of a hack that you don't have to go through
Yes,
the English
that's
language.
one
Yeah.
thing. That's the first thing. The second thing, if they will be able to vote in the UK election because they are Commonwealth citizen, and if would like to apply to be a member of parliament and anything like local council, they can, because they are a Commonwealth citizen. So that's the only two benefits that you can get as a passport holder in the Caribbeans. Nothing
Okay.
else you will be
And
granted to.
is there a news about the other Caribbean countries that you just mentioned, like Saint Kitts and Nevis and Antigua and Barbuda? Like, is there any news on that? Are they on the brink of getting their visa rejected as well?
It's not rejected. It's under
Um,
study, but
yeah.
and I mean, you have to understand the UK government mentality, that they will announce they study something. It's not good when they study something. It's mean that they will reject. They will revoke the visa-free access, or they can put it in a special regime where you have to apply for a permission before you fly. It's not a visa, okay, it's something in the middle, because they also announced that they will allow some countries in the Middle East, mostly the GCC countries like United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, and Kuwait, and also Jordan. That's the first time they can access the UK visa free next month. They have to go to the application, they fill a form, they apply
Similar to
before
the
they
US
travel.
application. Yeah.
Yes, but it's much easier, and the decision is not. So they might put the Caribbean in something like this. They might, but it will not be visa free. You have to travel without a visa. you need a permission to travel before.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
that could be another option, but no one's talk about this because it's something you have to dig deep to understand it. Yeah.
And how about the EU access? Is it similar to what's happening in the UK now? Are they also revising all these passports?
The problem, I mean, the security tension and the security situation in the UK is much complicated compared to the EU. You have the EU, you have 28 plus countries, the different rules and regulation. They have the Schengen visa, which is have similar rules everywhere, but the security tension is much lower. The only concern from the EU is that if they have Russian citizens or sanctioned countries, Russians or Belarus or something, that the countries have been sanctioned or individual been sanctioned on the EU list, they will not be able to get Caribbean citizenship and travel to the EU after the sanction. That's the first concern. The EU is much more flexible. They have denied access to the Vanuatu passport 6 months ago, but they are still revising it, and they might say, "Okay, we'll give you another extension for 18 months, and then we'll review it." So the EU is much more flexible. But as we have seen, there is trend in, you can say, not just the EU and the UK, even Canada and the US, not to welcome the citizenship by investment people who just pay money to get access to citizenship fast, because there is a lot of security and loopholes that can be used against the will of the other countries.
So what would you say it's the main reason why the UK has revoked the visa-free access for these countries?
Some of the clients who apply, they provide false information before they do the due diligence. In order to apply for the application, you have to fill a form. This form is very complicated. They ask you about everything from the day you're born until you apply for the application, and they ask you, have you been denied the visa before to the UK or the EU or US or Canada during the last 5 to 10 years? Some applicants provide false information about this. They don't understand that
It's
if they
extremely
provide
important
false,
to be
yes,
honest in that form. Yeah.
yes, and so they pass the due diligence. They say no, we have not been denied visa before, or they have not been. Some of the clients have been banned from entering the UK, and they say no, we don't have any issue. So the due diligence is accepted. They pass the donation of the investment in the country. They get the citizenship, and then they apply for the passport, and then they travel to the UK. And when they travel to the UK, you can say most of the time the system, the border in the UK doesn't have a record about the new citizen. Sometimes they can change the spelling of the names, or they try to. It's. I mean, it doesn't flag anything in the UK system. They do get enter the UK using the new passport visa free, and could be a huge risk, not just to security but the visa. You can say visa regime in the UK. The UK one of the most sophisticated visa system beside the US. They allow many countries to enter without visa, but they also check everyone to make sure that they are who are they. That's the main reason.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Then I think this the CBI programs, then they're shaking a bit. So I think people are wondering, what kind of other citizenship I can get. Either as a US citizen, they have the first citizenship was US or UK, or any other nationality that is looking into second citizenship. What other options are there on the market that are not extremely expensive, and they will give you access to the UK and EU market?
The instant access, there is only very few options like Malta, but it's 1 million euro. The only options that is still available either is Turkish passport, Turkey. It's called 400k. It's
Hmm.
like you have to donate. It's not a donation. You have to buy a portfolio of property for 400k USD. And once you buy the property, you have to follow certain guides and then apply for the citizenship. But the Turkish passport doesn't give you free access to the UK and the EU. Okay,
Okay.
that's. But it's actually a very solid program, and they don't grant the citizen. They have a very restrictive criteria themselves. They don't grant the citizenship until they do 6 months due diligence process. So it's not a
Hmm.
fast one, and then the government itself have to approve. It's not just about the money. So it's one of the best option, but it doesn't give you free visa access to the UK or the EU.
Okay, so
The
not
other
not
option,
really an option, but a solid citizenship then, at
yes,
least. Yeah.
it's not just a solid citizenship. Turkey is one. It's actually a country that you can live in. It's not just the Caribbean. The Caribbean islands are very small nations. They speak English. They are located very good. It could be a very good destination to change your lifestyle. But if you actually not, you don't have the mentality of the Caribbean, and you would like to get it, you can say a second home or alternative home. Turkey is a very good option. It's a very good country, very stable. It's a very low cost. It
Very
have
big.
a
Its economy is
yes,
booming, as everyone knows at the
yes,
moment.
yes, and once you are a citizenship, the once you have the citizen, it's like there's no way to revoke it back, and you can leave. You can get access to many countries which should not be able to access from the Western passport like the UK or the
Are you
US. You
talking
can.
about access to the BRICS country?
It's not just the BRICS. Yes, yes, they have a very good relations with the Middle East, with Africa, with Sub-Sahara. I mean, many countries in Asia they have a good relation with Russia, with China. So if there is more section on the Russian side or the or the Chinese side, and you would like to get a passport from the East, Turkey is the best option.
And for U.S. citizens who are wondering if they can apply for the Turkey passport, is that possible? And how is it more complicated for the U.S. person to get a second passport in Turkey than for a European one, for example? Or like how does it
No,
work for U.S.? It's the
no,
same process.
there's it's the same process. The only thing is that I have a couple of clients who would like to re-announce the U.S. citizenship to get out the U.S. tax system. The benefit of getting the Turkish citizenship that once you get the Turkish and then you re-announce the U.S. you'll be able because there's something called E2 treaty between the UK, sorry, the US and Turkey that allows citizens of Turkey to apply for special visa access to the US.
That's
So if
that's
you
that's that's very interesting. Also, it's also very funny because you have to apply for a visa after being an ex-US citizen. Yeah.
it's not a visa. It will get you like a special treaty to work and or start business in the US after you re-announce your
So they,
citizenship.
they do recognize your ex status then as a U.S.
Yes,
citizen. Okay, that's a
whatever
good deal.
they will consider this because I mean it's re-announcing the U.S. citizen. It's a very complicated process, and you have to pay like an U.S. exit tax.
Yeah, exactly.
It's depending on your status, but actually, this is Turkey is one of the best option if you would like to get access to the U.S. after you announce.
And then how about other countries like from South America, Paraguay, Brazil? How is it easy to get the passport from there? And do you have any? Is it a strong passport?
I mean, most of the Latin America passport is considered like not an A plus, but at least A to B class passports. Some of them access to the visa free access to the UK or the US. Some of them access Canada visa free or other countries like Russia, China, and most of the Middle East and Africa. But all of them you have actually to live in the country. You have to establish yourself on the country itself. It's not just paying the money and get the citizenship. You have to go there and then start the process. Starting the process, it's three stages. You get to go through get a temporary resident, and then you have to wait. It's depending on the country. Some countries like Chile, you can get the citizenship in just 2 years. Paraguay is 3 years. You get the temporary residence, and then you apply for the permanent resident, and then you can apply for
That leads to
naturalization.
nationalization. Yeah.
Yes, but the only thing is that you can say most of them are flexible about how many days you can spend in and out of the country. It's not a very strict system like the European one or the UK or US or Canada. They not count the days by days. They
Yeah.
give you the flexible. If you go there and use what I mean by establishing yourself, that you have an address, you have rent a property or buy property, you have bank accounts, you have income in the country, or you sending money outside the country. You have you paying your bills if they need to pay any local taxes or anything. Set up yourself in the country, even if you are not living in the country. That's one of the you can say the easiest and you can say a trust structure way to get a second citizenship in a country that allow it after a couple at least to 5 years, depending on how fast the citizenship you can. And some of them now, they are trying to come up with a speed up process, where they can grant the citizenship fast, depending on how you can benefit the country.
Yeah.
That's the
So
thing.
more
But
investment, I guess, faster process
yes,
and things like that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah. There's some of them have the programs, like Paraguay have a very straight program, going through the temporary and then permanent resident and then citizenship. But you have to stay in the country and establish yourself and say, I mean, any country will not give a citizenship to someone until they feel that you will provide them with the benefit. Because they're afraid that they give you this passport and you travel next day and you never show your face again. So if you establish yourself, the more you are established in the country, the more country will see, okay, you are welcome, you are integrated in the community. Because it's not for you have to, sometimes you have to learn the language, you have to learn the culture, and then you say, okay, I'm very well integrated in the community and I would like to be citizen of the country.
Yeah, which makes sense. Which makes sense. I mean, like any kind of serious country would want that from its future citizen, obviously, and also you have to prove good character and that you're a stable person. So yeah, absolutely. But so it seems like Paraguay is an option then for people looking into a second citizenship, especially because they're very flexible with the time in the country. It's actually not that bad as people say, and I personally know some people who have the residence there and they're working towards a citizenship. And life in Paraguay is actually pretty good. The weather is great. It's close to Argentina. People are nice. It's very stable, very peaceful. So why not? Paraguay could be a solid option, I think.
Yes, yes. Paraguay, Chile, and also Brazil. Brazil have, if you have a child that will be born in Brazil, he will be Brazilian citizen on birth.
Yeah. So that's
That's the same.
soil. By I don't know how it's called. Soil,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes, it's a birthright. It's like the
Birthright.
U.S.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Exactly.
yes, yeah. There's also. I mean, Mexico is one of the options, but there's a lot of American moving to Mexico and Canadians now, so they are trying to limit how many people can be Mexican citizens. But at least it's a good option if you would like to live in Mexico or the surrounding countries. There is also few options, not just in the Caribbean, but also in countries that Panama have a very good residency option. It's not granting citizenship to anyone. You have to prove that you are good to the community and you're doing something. But it's a very welcoming countries to the expats.
Yeah.
They don't have the, you can say, the UK or the European mentality, that the protective way that we are not welcoming anyone. It's a totally different mentality.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Mo. That's very interesting for I think our audience because again, like the CBI passports, the Caribbean passport seems to be on a downslope at the moment. People running away, and it's good always to know some alternatives. And you just mentioned a few really solid ones. So Mo, let's touch a bit about the the citizenship by descent. That's another big topic people talk about on social media and at conventions. So I was just wondering, what does it mean first, and what do you need to take a citizenship by descent?
It's That's another concept of acquiring a citizenship or a passport by speedy way, through your roots or through your parents, grandparents, or grandparents. It's You can say it's not like the birthright that you get instant access when someone on board of the country, but you get access to the country, the citizenship of the country, through your family roots. Let's get some examples. If you are John, who's an American citizen, he has been living in the U.S. for all his life, and he know that his grandfather was born in Ireland. Okay, if he have the proof that he have the documents for his grandparents, he can go to the Irish government through they have the program to apply. You have to have like a local solicitor in Ireland, and then he apply for proof that his grandfather is Irish, and he can apply for citizenship as Ireland, an Irish citizen.
And how far does
Whatever
this
he
go? All the way to grandparents? Like, where does it stop on the route of the family?
it's case by case. Some countries allow only the grandfather. It means your grandfather and then your father and then yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Some countries say no. One of the father or the mother had to be from the country or born in the country. Otherwise, cannot be granted. Some countries allow, you can say you can get up to couple of generations, like 200 years, 300 years, or 400 years. Some countries allow through like there was like during the World War II, many Jewish citizens they flew from Europe during the
For
war,
obvious
and they
reasons. Yeah.
went, yes, for many reasons. And now they will be able to claim a citizenship in one of the countries like Germany or Austria, or through the citizenship by descent. But it could go up to a couple of generations.
Okay.
Some other countries in Spain, they have like civil wars and some ethnic or you can say certain nationalities or groups that used to live in the country, and they flew the country for many wars and protection to other. They can claim now that they can get the Spanish citizenship through descent.
Okay, so Spain is
Turkey,
doing that. Spain, Turkey, Ireland. What other countries
UK,
are having
UK
this?
also UK. UK actually changed their citizenship acquiring rules, that they used to allow the first generation only. Now they allow the second generation. If you have a grandfather or grandmother was born in the UK, and you have to prove this, but in the UK soil, not in the Commonwealth citizen, because sometimes people think that I have India used to be part of the UK, and if my grandfather was born in India, so I can be British. No, it have to be UK, like England, Wales, North Ireland, and Scotland. That could that
Yeah.
be UK soil. There is because I work in some cases people who was born in Kenya, or people who were born in the Commonwealth citizen in South Africa. There are some exceptions to the standard case, but if you have one of your grandparents or was born in the UK, you can apply for citizenship by descent. Each country have their own rules and regulation for application. Um, the main common thing between them, that you have to prove, you have to go to the records of your own country to get the like birth certificates, death certificates,
There is
passport
some
copies if you
work.
have them.
There is some work behind that.
Yes,
Yes.
it's not an easy one. It's not something like this, but I've seen many cases that people actually go through process. They have to invest it. There is no guarantee it will be granted at the end of the day, but once it's granted, it's life changing.
Exactly. So maybe the risk, so to say, which is a time investment, it does worth it at the end. Probably it
Yes,
does.
definitely. If you are
Okay.
from the US or Canada, and you find through your family roots that you can claim UK or EU passport, that can give you an access to the whole EU countries, or
Yeah.
using UK, that will give you like, that will change your life instantly, and will be able to open opportunities you'll not be able to open using your current citizenship.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And Mo, how about then the citizenship? Is there any like free citizenship through naturalization? I guess so. That's what I know from people living in other countries, getting the passport in 5 6 years, like the UK, or 3 4 years, like Australia. So, what does it mean getting a passport or getting naturalized for free? Does that concept even exist?
There's nothing free in this world. Actually, you have to do something. The naturalization process. It's a process that allows someone who's not citizen of the country to acquire the citizen through different ways. It's called citizenship by residency. For example, if an Indian national moved to the Australia through student visa at the beginning, and then he apply for work permit, and then he follow all the rules and regulation, and then he apply for permanent resident, he got the PR, he will be eligible to apply for an Australian citizenship. If he follow all the rules and regulation, that he have to stay in the country for at least certain amount of years, he
Correct.
have to be good citizen, he have to pay taxes and establish himself in Australia, and then he apply. And also he have to go, most of the countries you have to go through a citizenship test. It asks
Yes.
you about the culture, the history of the country, and then once you pass the English test or the requirements, and then the test, citizenship test, and then you pass the due diligence, and then you fill your application. The country, you pass all the security checks. They approve you. They grant you citizenship. You get like a, it's not a birth certificate. It's called naturalization certificate. That's a proof that you are a citizen of the country. You can use this certificate to apply for a passport, and then you are a
It is a
citizen.
process. From what I know, it's a process that takes between 4 months and 1 year.
Yes,
Not really easy, but also not very complicated. So if you play by the rules, you'll have no problem. I know in Europe, Portugal has a golden visa for residency that will allow you to apply for citizenship in 5 or 7 years, if I'm not wrong, Mo. So that's
yes.
one good way to get into Europe and get a EU passport with access to the Schengen area. And what other countries in Europe more allow naturalization, from what you know?
I mean, you have, if you have a passport from the Latin America, and you the Spanish speaking countries, and you get into Spain, you can get the citizenship in Spain in only 2 years.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
speed. That's a speed process. But the norm, if you are not from the Latin America and you have like a passport from other countries, you need to wait 10 years in Spain. It's long
I
process.
think Italy is the same. It's 10 years, extremely long and
Yes, yes,
complicated. Yeah.
but there is some things you can do to speed up the process. If you married to a national of the country or citizen of the country, this years could be shortened. It's depending on some countries. It could be from 10 to 2, or from uh, uh, very few countries allow you to get the citizenship of them through marriage if you stay married to the partner, even if you live overseas. Okay, so
Which
there's
makes
the
sense, kind of
yes,
like
yes,
from
yes,
security and also, yeah.
yeah. It's depending on, and unfortunately these rules keep changing. If you told you like rules in Cyprus, if you marry the Cyprus citizen, and you stay in the relation for 2 to 3 years, you can be granted Cyprus citizenship if you qualify to other rules. So married to someone who is citizen of the country, that speed up the process, but don't do it just to get the citizenship, because there's other risk involved in it. Yeah.
Obviously this still happens for people who want to really escape their home country. It's always been like that, but again, if you play by the rules, it should be okay. I know also, for example, that in Denmark and Sweden, so in Scandinavia, you've got big problems with naturalization, because it takes a lot of time. It used to be 6 years, I think, or 7 years. Now it's 8 or 9 years. It's extremely complicated. You go through a lot of checks. So Scandinavia is quite complicated to get naturalized. So I would say, Portugal, Spain, definitely good options in Europe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
Mo. A lot of good gems here. So thanks for all these mentions. Anything you'd like to mention about the second passport as a general rule?
I mean, one of the things I always advise my clients and community, that don't fall for the sales trap. You can find an ad on Facebook or YouTube say that we can get you or guarantee citizenship on 3 to 6 months. You just pay the 100K investment and you get the citizenship. That's like a sales attraction. They try to provide you as much as make it easy as possible to get you to sign with them and then pay the deposit. And once you pay the deposit, there's no way to turn back. And the thing, try to understand why you invest the money if you are getting it through an investment. What kind of benefits, what kind of risk? Because there's nothing in the world risk free. 10 years ago, even before this citizenship by investment was a thing, and the clients come to ask me, I will pay 100K and get, it's a good option. There is no risk involved. I tell them there's nothing risk free.
Exactly.
If
Like we see it
it's
right now with the UK
Yes,
just closing the visa program. Yeah.
that's the thing. Most of these countries are very small nations. They don't have budget or foreign national budgets to negotiate with other countries and try to get, the reason actually this country or this nations or islands get free visa access to large nations, because they don't make any troubles. They are very, I mean, they don't,
Almost
most of their,
neutral, you would
yes, it's
say.
not just
Yeah.
ritual. They are, most of the citizens doesn't travel to this country. So if they travel, they are wealthy enough to invest or study or work, or they have a family, because they used to be part of the Commonwealth or used to be part of other countries.
Yeah, there was
The,
history
what's
and
ha-
trust behind that. Yeah.
yes, what's happened now? There is other nations, whatever, from the Middle East or Africa or Europe or US, and they invest to get the citizenship. So they're creating a community of citizens outside in different countries. If one of them have their own background, their own security risk, and their own investment, and they try to use the same privileges that was granted to the small nation 50 years ago, that will create the risk. And say, and then when they come, when they happen, for example, the UK say no, we are flagging this country, you'll not be able to use this as loophole to use the free visa access. This is what a privilege at a different time. So time is changing, and the risk, I'm not sure how the countries would react. They don't have an unfortunately, I love this country. It's they are very peaceful, they are very independent, but they don't have a negotiation power with dealing with the US or UK or the EU. There's politics are very complicated, you have to negotiate. uh, I will give you like a, a background story about something. The Turkish passport used to be one of the lowest visa free access in the world, almost 20 years ago. Now it's considered B plus or even A, because their foreign policy was very attractive, or opening the doors or giving free visa to many countries. So they changed they have now, you can say, they have a negotiation power to grant visa free access to nation, and they get the back visa free to the nationals.
That was
So
a
they
very
built,
smart move overall. Absolutely.
yes, and not just Turkey. The United Arab the UAE passport, which is many knows about Dubai. Citizens of the UAE can travel visa free access. That's one of the, you can say, it's the first and the second rank visa free access worldwide. It not used to be this like 20 or 30 years ago.
So it has
They
become
negotiate.
one of the best passports in the world, basically. Yeah.
Yes. Besides Singapore and Japan and other countries.
Yes.
So it's when you try to get into investment or build a residency or get a citizenship in a country, it's a long process, but you have to understand the risks and what are the benefits. If the country have a negotiation power to open the doors, or they don't have any risk involved with others. And remember, if you what happened now 5 years later could be changed. So yeah, you always need to, I always tell my clients to stay global. It's like there's you just need to play by the rules and get as much as options in your wallet. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be active, not passive. Stay up to date with the news because rules change, and there's anytime there's a crisis that can come and wipe out the economy. So you have to move, or you have to work for another country or in another country. So yeah, absolutely, stay up to date. Watch Remote Tribe, watch us on social media. Just give us a follow. We're sharing a lot of valuable information, and we're happy to help. So Mo, thanks a lot. It's been a great chat. I hope our audience will get a lot of value from it. And please, guys, if you have any questions, leave us a comment below. We're also going to share a new ebook we have about where to open a company with low taxes in 2023. So you can download that for free. There is something in the description of the video. And stay in touch on social media and by email. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much, Andrew. And always looking for your comments and questions. Make sure to subscribe or follow the podcast or video, whatever you're watching or listening. And stay global, my friends. Bye bye.
Thank you. Good.